Welcome back to Old Fox Racing PlayStation. Welcome back to the classic Hockenheim with a classic Lotus Type 25. What a climax it is here for the season finale. Race number 20 out of 20. And we have a champion, but the battle for second place is pretty much alive between Darren Head and Simon Allen. Darren Head is on pole position, followed by Diogo Silva, Kev Allen and Simon Allen on the second row. What could possibly go wrong at this start as they go green, and there's a collision at the back. I think it's Chris Winstanley and Frankie that got together, but what a good start by Darren Head and a good start as well by race 1 winner Kev Allen as they go nose to tail into the first straight of this Hockenheim Classic. It's the first lap out of 10 here at race number 20 out of 20. And look at this, Diogo Silva is going to try to go through the middle there. Oh, and they touch. Darren Head and Diogo Silva collide, and Diogo Silva gets the worst out of it. There was space, but not enough space for Diogo Silva to make that maneuver, and he is again on the back foot after problems in race 1. Diogo Silva is dead last here, is 12th out of 12 drivers, as Darren Head has also lost a few positions, and this is disastrous because Simon Allen is in second place. Darren Head certainly needs to make a recovery if he is to finish in second place of the championship, and he's starting that recovery. Ooh, collision again. Oh dear, the second chicane. All sorts of trouble there. Tires into the air. Darren Head is now in 10th spot, and he was trying to make a move on someone. I think it was Dale Taylor, and the move somehow seemed complete, but obviously wasn't. And Darren Head is now going to face a very, very long recovery. Look at this, he's in the middle of two cars, and this time he makes it work. He makes it work. That's two positions in one corner. What a beautiful overtake that Darren Head has made. That was Dale Taylor and Chris Winstanley. Darren Head is straight up into 8th place. Kev Allen, in the meantime, the winner of race 1, is in the lead again, and he's got 1.6 seconds over Simon Allen. Look at this, Mike Langley, after a challenging race in race 1, is up there in 3rd place. Look at this, Dale Taylor now going around Jumbo. Jumbo has made a mistake, and so has Dale Taylor now going on the outside of Jumbo into the Sachs curve, but didn't quite work. He ends up losing a position also to Chris Winstanley, that is up to 9th. Darren Head, in the meantime, is up to 7th, yes, because he also overtook Jumbo. Stuart Brand is in 6th, the Chris Russell in 5th, also having a much better second race today than the first, where he ended up finishing 10th. But what an, oh, look at this, Chris Russell running wide, and I'm sure the race director in that particular spot is not going to be impressed with that, and Stuart Brand certainly seems to be also not impressed at this, and he's going to try and move into the braking point to the first chicane, or is he? Is he going to do it? Chris Russell protects his line and shuts the door completely on Stuart Brand, that is now trying to move on the outside without much success at this particular moment. Diogo Silva, by the way, is still dead last after the end of the first lap. Not the start that he wanted. He's already wrapped up the championship, but I'm sure that he'll want to finish a little bit higher. He's now up to 11th. And possibly chasing, he's up to 10th now. In fact, he's starting that recovery. Let's see until when that is going to last. What can Diogo Silva do now from 10th place? In the meantime, Kev Allen is reminding us of the good old times that he used to dominate this league by opening a gap now of more than 2 seconds. Simon Allen in second place, Mike Langley in third, Scott Daly is in fourth. Nice work there from Scott as well. Fifth is Chris Russell, and continues to be very much under pressure from Stuart Brand. Stuart had an excellent podium in race 1. Darren Head, in the meantime, is actually getting closer to that group, as Diogo Silva is now chasing Dale Taylor. This is the battle for 9th place, with Jumbo that is in 8th place, not too far ahead, so we can anticipate here a very, very interesting battle for 8th place as well. Stuart Brand really can't find a way around Chris Russell as they complete now lap 2. He still has a lot of time in this race, certainly doesn't need to rush it, but Chris Russell is actually also gaining ground there on Scott Daly. Scott must have had some sort of issue. He's certainly losing a little bit of pace. And look at that, Chris Russell is really right behind Scott Daly, right on his gearbox with this classic Lotus, and who's enjoying this is certainly Darren Head. But all of a sudden, look at this now, Scott Daly makes a mistake at the exits of turn 1, and he gets overtaken by 3 cars in one go. That was incredible. Look at this now, Darren Head is actually trying to do what Diogo Silva tried to do in lap 1, except that he manages to make it work again. And what a recovery by Darren Head. Is certainly the man of the race so far, because he's made 2 successive overtakes in the middle of 2 other cars. Look at this, Scott Daly had the worst out of this, because he is now at the back of this group, and he hits now the back of Chris Russell, that in turn was trying to avoid Stuart Brand. Chris ends up losing control, and maybe Scott is going to go around the outside now on the 2nd straight. This is incredible. This is incredible racing right here at the season finale. And Darren Head is now up to 4th place, because he's made 3 spots in a matter of a couple of corners. Dale Taylor getting overtaken by Jumbo there, as these 4 drivers are now battling for basically 6th place, because Stuart Brand has actually in the middle of all of this managed to overtake Chris Russell, and he certainly had more pace. He just couldn't find a way around the Scottish driver, and now he's sitting nicely in 5th place. Let's check. Let's not check things up front, because things are fairly heated now here at the and they're fairly heated there, and fairly heated for Chris Russell, unfairly heated. And Diogo Silva hits. I believe it was. It wasn't Chris Russell. It was. I believe it was Dale Taylor or Scott Daly. That was a bit of a mix-up there in the 3rd chicane between Dale and Scott, and Diogo was just nowhere to go for him, and yet another thing delaying him. Is now down to 11th. So let's check what happened with all of this. Scott Daly is still in, Jumbo is in 6th, Scott Daly is in 7th, Chris Russell is in 8th, Dale Taylor lost a bit of time, is in 9th. Now he's in 10th, because Frankie is up into 9th. Diogo Silva is in 11th place, and yet another problem for him, as we are now in lap 6 and following Simon Allen. Simon has been losing time, but not too much, to race leader Kev Allen. Mike Laley is sitting on a podium position. It's only his 4th race of the season. He was participating in the opening weekend and also in the final weekend, and certainly this is the best race of the season for Mike Langley, as now Scott Daly is going to overtake Jumbo. Jumbo is slowing down, possibly because of a penalty, so Scott Daly is up to 6th. And how far is he from Stuart Brand? He is 5 seconds behind Stuart, doing a good job there. Very, very solid 5th place. He definitely likes this combo, he likes this circuit, likes the classic Lotus car as well. Chris Russell has been yo-yoing between 5th and almost 10th. He's now sitting in 8th, and he was hoping to have a better race here at the Hockenheim in race 2, but so far things have been a little bit shaky for him. He is not far from 6th place though. Because when someone is making a mistake there, that was in succession 3 drivers to the grass. Everyone was just following one another, and I think it was Scott Daly that made the original mistake, and Jumbo just followed in sympathy, and then the Twixter Chris Russell also followed. They all looked like synchronized swimmers there at the Ostkurve chicane, just doing a little bit too much effort there at the chicane, and too much speed, and certainly losing time. And Dale Taylor and Frankie are now on their tail. Look at this, Dale Taylor now trying to find a way around Frankie, and this is an excellent battle here for in the back end of the top 10. And don't forget, Diogo Silva is still in 11th place out there, incredibly. Darren Head is making some inroads because he's gaining ground on Mike Langley, so we might still have a chance of a podium here, and that would be enough to maintain his second place in the championship. Look at this, Diogo Silva on the inside of Dale Taylor, gaining a position now up to 10th, and he clearly wants to be, well, at least in 8th place, which was his result in race 1. Diogo Silva having a dismal race here again. Not that he needs these points, but certainly there's a bit of pride at stake here, as he is really on the gearbox of Frankie right now. Only 4 laps to go at the end of this one. They now enter the 7th. No, sorry. They're still in the 5th lap, is it? Yes, it's the 5th lap. I apologize. As Diogo Silva now is going to try to overtake Frankie again. Frankie is actually... and Diogo has lost position again to Del Taylor as these 3 drivers battle in the long straights of the Hockenheim ring. Look at this. It's well, Diogo Silva now has nowhere to go really. Even he may be slightly faster than the drivers ahead, but Frankie is actually trying to go on the inside, and someone has gone off there. Someone has gone off, and that was well, I don't know who it was. It seems that that driver has carried on as if nothing happened, but there's a bunch of tires up in the air, and that's a little bit dangerous if they were real tires. Darren Head, as I was mentioning a while ago, is really closing in on Mike Langley. Look at this beautiful line there through the second chicane, and a much faster exit for Darren. Darren could go into a podium position, and this would ensure that he finishes in second place. Simon Allen is still ahead of him. Simon Allen also has fewer points to drop because basically Darren is at the moment, I think, dropping a 5th place, and he's now up to 3rd. He's now up to 3rd, but dropping a 5th. Oh, he's overcooked it there at the exit entrance of the chicane, but he manages to keep in front. But Mike Langley is coming right back at him. This is excellent stuff, side by side here. Just before the stadium, and Mike Langley has a little bit more speed and recovers that 3rd place. What an excellent move this was. He did lose the position to Darren Head, but immediately recovered it as they now enter the stadium, and this is an amazing shot of the American driver that is returning to Old Fox Racing PlayStation this weekend. And oh, and he's overcooked it now at the Sachs Curve. He's overcooked it himself. He outbraked himself, ran out of talent there, Mike Langley. And now I think we can safely say that Darren Head has made the move. And let's see if he makes it stick. He's already up a 2nd. So Darren Head is dropping a 5th. So he's marginally adding to this to his points tally at the moment with the 3rd place, because he's basically dropping a 5th at the same time. Simon Allen is in 2nd, is dropping an 8th place if I'm not mistaken. And look at that now, Stuart Brand is overtaking also Mike Langley. Mike Langley is losing momentum in these final stages of the race, but as I was saying, Simon Allen is still dropping points, but less points than Darren, and is also ahead. But I think if my math is correct, that Darren Head is still 2nd in the championship as they run. Mike Langley loses the position to Stuart Brand. Stuart had a faster car out of turn 1 and ends up making the move on the outside. Stuart Brand now up to 4th, and clearly he still wants that podium. Let's see if that's possible. Diogo Silva continues to battle against a lot of other... Oh, and he's touched Chris Russell, and Chris is spinning, and off the road. Diogo Silva is off the road again and hits the tires. Chris Russell hits the tires, and disaster for the Scottish driver and also for Diogo Silva. This was a battle for 8th place, and I think Diogo is waiting for Chris, if I'm not mistaken. This was not an intentional collision, but I think Diogo feels that probably he should let Chris through, although he's not. He's now going back to the racing line, so I'm not entirely certain of what's going on here, as Chris Russell is now behind Diogo Silva. Diogo lost the position to Frankie, and also to well, Jumbo was ahead of him anyway. I think he's letting Chris through now. He's letting Chris through, and that's the right thing to do, but he barely let him through. and is trying again to overtake him on the outside. Let's see at the entrance of the third chicane. I think Chris Russell is now ahead. Diogo Silva down to 10th. Chris Russell 9th, and Frankie is in an excellent 8th place as it stands. Jumbo in the meantime has checked out completely out of this, and look at this is a replay of something that happened between Mike Langley and Stuart Brand. Mike is coming back at Stuart at the exit of the third chicane, and this was indeed a much better exit for Mike Langley, and he's going back into fourth position. He's done the same move on Darren Head, and he certainly seems to be very fast at this particular point of the circuit between the third chicane and the stadium. And Mike Langley is up. Oh, he's not up into third place because he's overcooked it again at the entrance of the stadium, and Stewart goes back into fourth place. But that was an exciting moment there between these two drivers. Lots of interesting racing going on. Lap 7 out of 10, and we are now for the first time in a while following race leader Cavallo, that is going for his second win of the season, and that's going to be the only weekend where he wins races, and has been a while since we saw Cavallo winning both races in one weekend. He certainly has had a tough season, just a couple of podiums before this last round, but he's still on track to finish 5th in the championship as it stands, because Diogo Almeida is not Diogo Almeida, but I think he's battling right now with Scott Davely and Jumbo and Stuart Brandon. I think he's going to have the upper hand here if he manages another win. Let's see, only 3 laps to go, but there are very long laps here at the Hockenheim ring, as you can see from the leaderboard there. The leader is on 225s, so is Simon Allen and Darren Head. 226 for Stuart Brand, 229 for Mike Langley and Scott Davely. And other drivers, Diogo Silva did a 233, but that was, I think, after waiting for Chris Russell. In fact, Diogo has overtaken Chris Russell already. We haven't quite seen that, but I believe it happened at the Sachs curve on the previous lap. So the Twixter Chris Russell is down to 10th, which is exactly where he ended race 1. And after such a promising start to this race, Chris Russell might end up exactly where he finished in race 1, and that's not going to help his claim to a top 5 position in the standings. Del Taylor has also dropped to 11th, and Diogo Silva is now trying to overtake Frankie, and that is on the inside of the third chicane, and I think he's going to make it work here, or is he? Frankie is coming back at him now. Diogo Silva is going to brake later, and he's up into 8th place, which is exactly where he finished race 1 as well. Del Taylor in the meantime is actively trying to overtake Chris Russell, and Chris might even drop one more place here. What a disastrous race after such a promising start. Has been quite an eventful race, also with that spin induced by Diogo Silva in the first chicane. Del Taylor seems to have the better pace at the moment, and there are still 3 laps to go, so we may still see quite a lot of action here at the back end of the top 10. Chris Winstanley in the meantime is in 12th place after a promising start as well, but he's only a couple of seconds behind Dale, so he's not completely out of this battle just yet. And look at this, Chris Russell really struggling with this car at the moment here at the Hockenheim, as he almost loses it at the entrance of the start-finish line. He is, however, catching Frankie quite quickly, so we are going to see a battle here for 9th place very, very soon indeed. But Del Taylor is wasting no time whatsoever. He wants that move, and we go now side by side with Chris Russell and Del Taylor. Del on the inside, and I think he's got the job done here. Yes, breaking point for the first chicane. I think Del Taylor is going to do it, and he's going to overtake Frankie as well. That's amazing. That's 2 in 1 for Del Taylor, that goes back into the top 10 in quite some fashion by overtaking 2 drivers in a single straight. The Twixter is now down to 11, but he's also going to overtake Frankie, or at least he's trying. It's a bit hard to overtake here because the braking point for the second chicane is a little bit trickier to complete a clean pass. Can he do it? No, he can't do it. No, he can't do it because Frankie just lost it completely and went into the barrier. That's a disaster. He lost. And he was trying to defend. He took the racing line, but then couldn't really stop it in time. And Frankie is down to 12 now. Chris Stanley is up to 11. Chris Russell in 10. Diogo Silva is still in 8, and he seems to have a long way to go. So I'm not sure, because Jambu in front of him is like 5 seconds ahead. So I'm not certain that Diogo can go any further in this race. After such an eventful race, he may end up in 8th place again. The top 3 are relatively stable. Simon Allen can't do anything about Kev. He is now almost 7 seconds behind him, and with just 2 laps to go, I think that's going to be a very, very high ask for Simon Allen to still be in contention for a win. Darren Head is, however, not too far behind. He's 8 seconds behind Simon, so I'm not certain that he can do anything. But Stuart Brand is again proving to be the real hero of this combo, because he is right on Darren's gearbox again, and he's still in contention for that podium, and is checked out completely from that pair of Jumbo and Scott Davely that are also battling for 5th place. Sorry, 6th place. I apologize, because 5th place man is Mike Langley. Mike has lost touch with Darren and Stuart, but he's still controlling the gap over Scott. It's Scott and Jumbo that are battling for 6th place. So we have a battle for 3rd and a battle for 6th at the moment. Those are the 2 most obvious battles. And I think Frankie has actually stopped in the track after that crash, because his last lap is 3 minutes 20. I'm counting, so he's not. I don't think he's gone back to the race after that crash. So that's another retirement for Frankie. Certainly not the ending to the season that he expected. Challenging season also for him, with a few highlights of a few places in the top 5, and certainly a few more in the top 10, but also a couple of retirements hurting his point standings. Jumbo, in the meantime, is actually very, very active chasing Scott Davely, and I think Scott is not maybe going to survive in 6th place for the remaining 1.5 laps of this race. Certainly this is the best wheel-to-wheel action at the moment as we enter the final lap of the season. And what a season it has been. A very, very tight battle for the title between Diogo Silva, Darren Head, Simon Allen, and of course Jorge Jesus and Diogo Almeida also involved in that race for the top 5. Diogo Almeida then dropping down the order after not being able to join a number of rounds. He's only joined 12 of the 20 rounds in this season, but what a season it has been. Also very interesting battles outside of the top 3 between Kev Allen, Scott Davely, Chris Russell, Jumbo and Stuart Brand, all in very, very, very tight action. And it's still going on here in the last lap, because there's still a lot to decide between Scott Davely and Jumbo. That's only for 6th place, but of course in Old Fox Racing PlayStation you do have action throughout the field. It doesn't matter if you are battling for 11th place or for the lead. The battles are as hard and as clean as they can be in this league. Jumbo certainly seems to have the pace, but is he going to have the opportunity to make a move? Because I think without the drafting effect in this car, it's going to be quite difficult for him to make the move. Scott Davely, as usual, is really, really good defensive driving there. He's certainly making that car as wide as possible. He's not making any mistakes. He's going slow in, fast out in the corners, and now in the second chicane made a little bit of a mistake, but not quite enough for Jambu to take advantage. But it was a little bit of a strange line there. Let's see what happens. Still a few more corners to go, but a few more corners to go for this man, number 19, the Yellow Lotus of Kev Allen, has completely dominated this weekend of racing. Winner in race 1, and now a few corners to go, and he's going to win race 2, his second victory of the season, and definitely making sure that he finishes in 5th place of the championship after winning the winter championship. That was certainly not the greatest season, but he's going to be back for sure for the summer season with this kind of form. Simon Allen is 8, almost 9 seconds behind, but he's going to finish in 2nd place, which is a very, very good result indeed, but not enough, unfortunately, to propel him to 2nd place in the championship. That's going to go for this man. Darren had another podium. Stuart Brand in 4th place. That was a very, very solid result. And Michael Langley, in his 4th race of the season, does his first top 5 of the season. We certainly can count with him for battling podiums in the upcoming season. And what has happened here, this is Jumbo and Stewart and Scott Lively. I apologize. And Jumbo is going to make a banzai move on the inside. Is he or not? He's going for it. Yes, he's going for it. He's going for it. And Scott is going to shut the door there. Wow. What has happened here? I think this was definitely a racing incident, and Scott presses the reset button. Is he going to... and Jumbo is waiting for him now, and Diogo Silva is going to come as well. So Diogo Silva, up to 7th, and could be, up to 6th if he manages to overtake Scott Lively. He's certainly going to go for it now at the entrance of the stadium, and Diogo Silva could get 2 places in one go. Yes, he does. Diogo Silva up to 6th, but we understand he's got a time penalty, so that's going to be tricky because he basically has 3 or 4 corners to open the 2-second gap. So I think Scott Lively on the road may be 7th, but on the final leaderboard he's certainly going to be 6th. But what a disaster for Jumbo that has lost everything in the last lap. I think it was a genuine overtaking attempt there and the fair one, but Scott just shut the door on him, and they ended up colliding. That's racing. Del Taylor is in 10th place. He actually lost the position to Chris Russell. Chris Russell manages to finish 9th, with Chris Winstanley in this race finishing in 11th. Frankie has retired. And that's all, folks, for the 2021 spring season. There is the result of race 2 with the Allens, the familiar Allens in the podium, and this is the full round. And now we're going to see the final standings there. Diogo Silva, Darren Head, and look at this, only 3 points. Simon Allen completing the podium. There's the podium for the championship, and join us for the summer championship from next week.